on the video. We are live on all three of Facebook, Periscope, D Live, and now YouTube. What's up, everybody? I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report. It is Wednesday, January 6th, the big day, 2021. And it's 9:03 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be talking about the steal, a little bit about that. Kyle, John Wick, Jack Bauer, Rittenhouse, Jacob Blake. Why isn't Jacob Blake charged? It sounded like he was not charged in the incident in which he fought with the cops. That's odd. Was that kiss-up stuff? Was it a plea deal? What's going on? And more stuff. Little Marco the RINO Bible boy. Don Lemon and the other CNN guy, Chris Cuomo, going off. I have a little extended 911 call from the Jacob Blake's ex-girlfriend, who called the cops on him. They say, stop calling the cops on the blacks. And yet they called the cops on him. She said that she tried not to. And more. And also your calls. 888-775-3773. Whole lot going on. But let's get right on to the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how is everybody doing? I am fine. I have a little bit of information for you guys, and I'm going to get right into it because I have a ton of calls to get to as well. I hardly got to any of your calls yesterday. Sorry about that, guys, but I had a lot to say. But Revolver.news, the great Revolver News, his reporting on the Jacob Blake case, free at last. No officers will face charges in the politically incorrect, is what they call it. And yeah, that's true. Kenosha shooting of the armed black criminal, Jacob Blake. And people were calling him unarmed, including the mainstream media and the Washington Compost, falsely calling him unarmed and giving credence to his so-called family who said that he was unarmed. When we knew from the start, we heard it in the video that a witness took. Cops were saying, drop the knife, drop the knife, drop the knife. But no, you can't see the knife in the video. So I wonder whether Earl from Michigan is going to apologize for getting it wrong again, as usual. Because I have some black callers who think, oh no, he was unarmed. He could have, just because he had a knife over in the car doesn't mean that he had the knife. Whatever. Blake's attorney, one of his attorneys is Benjamin Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, Thug, Black Lives Matter, Sleaze, Benjamin Crump. And another one is called B-Ivory, B''Ivory, Lamar. Says failing to file charges subverts the will of the people. Oh, I didn't know that the court of law was a democracy. She actually seemed to say something along those lines, right? I don't know if that's a direct quote. I don't think it was, but it's crazy. And we knew that he was armed and that he was committing a felony when he was shot. He was resisting arrest, attacking the cops. He was at one point, and you'll hear this from the Kenosha DA, that he was on top of the officer. So I want to play for you the girlfriend. What's her name? Laquisha Booker a 911 call that got the cops on the scene in this situation. Because we had heard that he showed up to break up a fight between women, between like 6 women. And that could be true, too. You know, you never know. There's all kinds of chaos that goes on in the black community, including apparently in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Wow. Who knew? So I got this clip from, I believe, NBC via Daily Caller on Twitter. NBC so-called news, far left. The Kenosha district attorney plays this woman's 911 call. It's about it's a couple of minutes long. Check this out. This is number, I think 12. You got it? 13. Is it?
It says NBC News on it. 2 minutes.
Okay. It should be 12 that I want. Clip 12.
That was 1.5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. That's the one that I want. The 911 call. Nice. Listen to this.
Jacob Blake is here, and he has the keys to a rental that I purchased that I need to take back, and he's not trying to release it. And on top of that, he's not supposed to be here. Today is his son's birthday, so I allowed him to spend a couple hours with him, but he's not giving me the keys to this rental. And that's all I'm asking for. I never would have called you guys. I promise you I tried to keep from calling you guys. He's crashed numerous of my vehicles in the past, and I literally just bought one, like yesterday. And so just because he heard some false information, he's not willing to give me the keys to this car that doesn't even belong to me. Me and my sisters just saw him skirt off in it and turn around and come back. So I need you guys to come in. I need these keys.
Okay, what is your name?
My name is Laquisha Booker. Go ahead and tell the girls that. Go ahead and tell them that. Do not put your shoes on. The police are on their way here. Yes, it is. Do not put your shoes on, Israel. Go back to play. You didn't even want to go outside.
Yikes.
Is Jacob there right now?
Yes, and he's trying to kiss his kid so he can hurry up and leave. He was here just talking all types of crazy, and now he's walking off now. Now he's getting ready to leave. Well, let me get the license plate.
Okay, and is he white, black, Hispanic?
She doesn't answer, but he black.
Hold on, let me get the license plate number.
What state is it out of?
Shut the up, bitch.
And that's how the 911 call ends. So she sounds like she's probably a handful herself, right? Poor Jacob Blake. I think this is part of the attack on men, right? Wow. So wild. So that's what prompted the cops to show up to this thing. It wasn't some white calling the cops on a suspicious black person. A suspicious but innocent black person. No, it was a black woman, ex-girlfriend, Laquisha, calling the cops on innocent Jacob Blake. And by the way, I reported in Hake News at the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show today that I reminded you actually, because back in November, I think this happened. They dropped some of the different assault charges and things like that. He was accused of different things, and then he pleaded guilty in a plea deal to other things. But they're not only not charging the officers, but they're also not charging Blake. Seemingly, they're not charging Blake in this incident, based on what I can find. It's funny because you search this information, Jacob Blake not charged, and all you see is information about the cops not being charged. Well, of course they're not being charged. That's obvious. Why isn't he being charged, though? Listen to this clip of the DA describing what happened and tell me if Jacob Blake should be charged too, or it should not be charged. This one is 13. Thanks.
But
This is
there
a couple
are
minutes long.
many commands disobeyed, and that's not only talked about by all the officers, but that's admitted by Jacob Blake in his statements, and there are a number of civilians who talk about that as well. And there are multiple ways that officers try to bring Jacob Blake into custody. Again, none of those, I think, visible in any of the videos. They try to direct him to the ground. They try to multiple officers try to grab his arms and secure him so he can be cuffed. He admits at one point, officers were trying to handcuff me, but I was able to get up. There's a time where he's down on the ground. I think we'll show you a video in a second that's enhanced, where a really close viewing of it shows Jacob Blake is on top of someone who has to be Officer Shesky based on everyone else. And Officer Shesky says, I was on top of him, and then he was on top of me as we were grappling for me trying to get him under arrest. Most importantly, he was tased twice using remote kind of tasers and once with a direct strike with the taser. So I'm going to suggest to you 3 attempts were made to tase Jacob Blake to get him in compliance. There's the refuse of tasers all over the ground at different locations in this case when the scene is explored by DCI. And both Officer Moronic, but most importantly Officer Shesky, who's an officer who's been around for a few years, say they have never seen a defendant before who had as little impact by tasers as Jacob Blake did. And so that was certainly a factor in terms of the use of force options that were exercised in this case. Very important. Jacob Blake, while actively resisting, arms himself with a knife. I continue to hear, I think I heard at the rally last night, the vigil, where someone again said he was unarmed. It is absolutely incontrovertible that Jacob Blake was armed with a knife during this encounter. Uncontrovertible. Most uncontrovertible because Jacob Blake, in all of the times he spoke to DCI, admits he possessed
a knife. It cuts off there. Just like for Nick, it cut off there. He said he possessed a knife. He admitted that he possessed a knife, and he had a knife, and he wouldn't drop the knife. Crazy. And apparently that ex-girlfriend was not just an ex-girlfriend, but a baby mama. A baby mama. The mother of his children. And she lets him see them a couple of hours on the boy's birthday, her son. What a mess. Her kids inside, his kids inside the SUV that he was trying to get back into. Crazy, huh? But he's not charged with this. I don't know if he's still paralyzed. What a mess. But he did it to himself. And any honest person would admit that. And then after this, the crazy Black Lives Matter riots, destroying businesses, and he's still not charged. Black privilege, am I right? He might make a rap album saying he'd been shot 7 times. He took it and smiled. Now he's about to set the record straight. With his AK, he's still the thug that you love to hate. No, I'm kidding. That's after that, he got killed, huh? He was like begging to be killed. Tupac. That was a pretty bold rap song. That's a rap song that was citing. But no good. And meanwhile, you missed that one. 5 shots couldn't drop me. I took it and smiled.
I didn't hear that.
It's the song "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac. Anyway, I don't want to rap too much of it because I might accidentally slip out a cuss word or an N-word, and I can't say that. I can, but this is a family show, a children's show, not a pro Harvey Milk children's show either. Children's friendly, family friendly, right? Anyway, it's ridiculous. He gets off on all this stuff, plea bargains and stuff. They don't want to cause more riots and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Kyle Rittenhouse is charged with everything in the kitchen sink. Hake is greater than Eminem. And Eminem is greater than all the rest, according to Esteban. Anyway, Kyle John Wick Jack Bauer Rittenhouse, charged with like 5 felonies in the same city. And he was responding to the attacks on the city and the attacks on himself. What a shame. I'm going to get to that, and I have a CNN clip. Oh, Joel, can you turn on the Skype computer and search Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube? See if you can pull up the Trump speech, because maybe I'll catch a little bit of the Trump speech. He is talking right now. He's talking an hour late. He was supposed to be on at 11, but he's on at 12, which is 12 Eastern, right? My time, when I come on the show, and he's talking. But we'll see if, he's speaking. He's speaking in. Peeking up at there's a TV up there. Fox News is playing. Outside, we have One America News Network. Nice. But I'm going to get to your calls, guys. The electoral challenge is happening. It's going to happen. There's 77 congressmen, Republicans, and 13 senators who are supposed to challenge. Of course, as I mentioned in Hake News, many are saying, and I quite believe it, that these are RINOs pretending to put up a fight, you know? So I don't know. I'm seeing my side view. I don't know if that's on purpose, right? Okay. So anyway, by the way, this is from the Epoch Times. Speaking of disloyal, Senators Tim Scott, the black one, the black so-called Republican senator who has worked with President Trump on various things, including, so-called criminal justice reform and stuff like that, right? And opportunity zones. Black RINO. And he called Trump racist, by the way. He accused him of being racist he said it was racist for him to tell those 3 or 4 so-called squad congressmen, female congressmen of color, to go back to their countries and fix their places before they come in here and try to fix stuff, try to tell us how it's done. He said, go back to your countries and fix those places. Go back to where you're from and fix those places before you tell us what to do. Referring to Cortez, who is, she's from sort of New York, but she's also Puerto Rican a little bit, and she's no loyalty to America. She's a socialist, anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-man, anti-America. Same thing with Ilhan Omar. Same thing with Rashida Tlaib. And same thing with that black one who's more American than the rest of them, but she's still anti-American. Ayanna Pressley, the bald one, she has alopecia and shaves her head instead of eating right and fixing it. Now, I don't know if that's possible. In some cases, it's possible to fix alopecia. Just ask Dr. Singh. But Tim Scott and Jim Inhofe, is another senator, so-called Republican, announced they will not object to the Electoral College votes. President Trump works with you, Tim Scott, and you backstab him every turn you get. What a RINO, black RINO. President Trump is committed to challenging the election beyond the joint session that's taking place today. January 6th, fighting to the end. Very nice. Good to hear. Mo Brooks, Representative Mo Brooks, a Republican, says what we really need are senators who will sign the dotted line. But they're cowards. A federal judge, by the way, rejected Trump's request to decertify the Georgia results amid a leaked call scrutiny. Let's turn on Right Side Broadcasting for just a couple of minutes here, and then I'll get to some calls, see if Trump is saying anything cool, which he usually is, right? Well, let's listen to a little bit of it right now.
Today we see a very important event, though, because right over there, right there, we see the event going to take place, and I'm going to be watching because history is going to be made. We're going to see whether or not we have great and courageous leaders or whether or not we have leaders that should be ashamed of themselves throughout history, throughout eternity. They'll be ashamed. And you know what? If they do the wrong thing, we should never, ever forget that they did. Never forget. We should never, ever forget. With only 3 of the 7 states in question, we win the presidency of the United States. And by the way, it's much more important today than it was 24 hours ago because, I spoke to David Perdue, what a great person, and Kelly Loeffler, 2 great people, but it was a setup. And you know, I said, we have no backline anymore. The only backline, the only line of demarcation, the only line that we have is the veto of the President of the United States. So this is now what we're doing, a far more important election than it was 2 days ago. I want to thank the more than 140 members of the House. Those are warriors.
Nice.
They're over there working like you've never seen before, studying, talking, actually going all the way back, studying the roots of the Constitution, because they know we have the right to send a bad vote that was illegally gotten. They gave these people bad things to vote for, and they voted because what did they know? And then when they found out a few weeks later, again, it took them 4 years to devise this screen. And the only unhappy person in the United States, single most unhappy, is Hillary Clinton, because she said, why didn't you do this for me 4 years ago? Why didn't you do this for me 4 years ago? Change the votes, 10,000 in Michigan. You could have changed the whole thing, but she's not too happy. You don't see her anymore. What happened? Where's Hillary? Where is she?
It's a good question.
But I want to thank all of those congressmen and women. I also want to thank our 13 most courageous members of the U.S. Senate, Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Josh Hawley, Kelly Loeffler. And Kelly Loeffler, I'll tell you, she's been so great. She worked so hard. So let's give her and David a little special hand because it was rigged against them. Let's give her and David. Kelly Loeffler.
Good try.
David Perdue. They fought a good race. They never had a shot. That equipment should never have been allowed to be used. And I was telling these people, don't let them use this stuff. Marcia Blackburn, terrific person. Mike Braun, Indiana. Steve Daines, great guy. Bill Haggerty. John Kennedy. James Langford. Cynthia Lummis. Tommy Tuberville, the coach. And Roger Marshall. We want to thank them. Senators that stepped up, we want to thank them.
Yeah.
I actually think, though, it takes, again, more courage not to step up. And I think a lot of those people are going to find that out. And you better start looking at your leadership, because your leadership has led you down the tubes.
Yep.
You know, we don't want to give $2,000 to people. We want to give them $600. Oh, great.
Right on, President Trump. He's talking. You know, somebody said Kelly Loeffler is not a good person in the chat. I don't know if I can dispute it. Timmy Turner asks, Hake, when should we believe women? And I think that's referring to Laquisha, the ex-girlfriend, the baby mama of Jacob Blake. That's a good question. That's a good question. When they're telling the truth. When they're telling the truth. And I don't know if Laquisha was telling the whole truth, right? Mo Betta stand-up says about Laquisha, I dated a girl in high school like that once. I asked her to go different ways. Smart man, Mo Betta. Smart man. Yeah, Robert Lee says, Kelly Loeffler, not a good person. I don't know. I hear that there are people who say that she's phony. Mo Betta stand-up said, Trump vetoed for you to get all, not just 600, but infested Congress overruled him because he wanted you to get 2,000. You should have received the full 2,100, he says. Yeah. I'm going to read your super chats, guys. Jesse Lee Peterson hosting the Hake Report on D-Live. Thank you. Noah's Ark, Kansas, faithful supporter with a diamond. Appreciate it. And ice cream and lemon. Mobetta Stand-Up says, Noah's Ark, Kansas. Oh, the art is going up. Oh, let me open up my Streamlabs. Streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. Let me get to some calls, guys. First, let me get to Ronnie in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ronnie, how are you doing?
I'm well. How you doing? How you doing today, Hake?
Fine, thank you.
So I was hearing you read the Hake Report, the Hake News during Jesse's show, and I'm confused. You think that Kyle Rittenhouse should be let go? You don't think he should be charged with anything?
No, he shouldn't be charged with anything because they can't convict him. It was obvious self-defense.
But and you're saying that they should be charging Jacob Blake?
Yeah, because he was seen resisting arrest.
Are cops okay? So maybe this is where maybe this will help things.
Okay.
Are cops above the law?
No, they shouldn't be. Sometimes they kind of act like it, but yes, they should not be.
Perfect. So we agree that cops shouldn't be above the law.
Right.
So then how come? So why should Jacob, who didn't kill anybody, be charged, but Kyle, who killed 2 people, not be charged?
Because killing is not necessarily a crime, and it's not the only crime that can be committed.
Killing is not necessarily a crime. He killed 2 people, so
Right.
he shouldn't be charged with anything. Jacob Blake didn't kill anybody,
Right.
except maybe attacking some people who you say aren't above the law, and he should be charged.
Right.
You see how that doesn't make sense?
Because there's more crimes than just killing, and killing is not necessarily a crime. Killing in self-defense is quite legal and moral.
So then what did Jacob Blake do that should have him being charged and is strong enough to get him charged, but not strong enough to get Kyle charged with killing people?
Because Kyle killed in self-defense. Those guys were attacking him, right? And then, or trying to steal his gun from him, and he has a right to defend himself and his property. And then,
he wasn't on his property though, right? He was like not even in the state where he lived.
His gun, I mean, his friend's gun is his property, and they were trying to steal his gun from him.
He walked into a hostile area with a gun and got attacked. That doesn't make sense.
I'm glad that you agree that Kosovo, Wisconsin, is a war zone, and so that Jacob Blake, on the other hand, he was being arrested for apparently some other crimes he had allegedly committed from back a while ago, right? A case in May or something like that. He was being arrested. He resisted arrest. He fought with the cops. He was on top of one of the cops. The cop was on top of him, and then he grappled and got on top of the cop. Taser didn't work. And then he was shot in the back because he wouldn't drop a knife. So yes, he should be charged with the crime.
He got tased and shot.
Right.
And you don't think he suffered enough. So you think he should be charged with what?
He wouldn't have been tased and shot had he not resisted. He should be charged with 1, resisting arrest, 2, striking an officer because he was trying to fight with an officer. Fighting an officer, that's a crime in itself.
Why? You said cops aren't above the law.
They're not above the law, but when you're assaulting someone, including a cop, that's against the law. What are you talking about? You're not making sense.
What would you do if you felt like a cop was violating your rights? What would you do if you felt a cop was violating your rights? If you can
That's a good question. I don't know. Are you acting like Jacob Blake was justified in what he did, fighting the cops?
No. I want to stop and just can we just before we move on? I want to understand. You said you don't know what you would do if a cop was violating your rights.
Right.
So then, how come you spend so much time on your show judging people who are in that situation and have to react?
Because you're acting like they have to react. You're pretending that what they did was right.
No. I'm not talking about just Jacob Blake in this situation.
I'm not talking just about Jacob Blake either. I'm talking about you people.
I'm talking about you. What would you do if a cop was violating your rights?
I just answered. I don't know. I just answered. I don't know. I can't think about it. Thinking about it won't tell me what I would do.
Then let's talk about it. Let's talk about if a cop violated your rights. You said that you don't think cops are above the law, and you said that if Kyle Rittenhouse, it's okay for him to drive across state lines to a war zone and kill in self-defense. So if you can kill in self-defense, and you feel like a cop is violating your rights, according to you, you can make the case that killing a cop is okay sometimes.
You're getting nutty, Ronnie. You're not making sense.
Yes. I'm trying to help you think about it.
Because you're not. Because you're going off into your imagination. You're going off into your imagination into all kinds of what ifs.
No.
Yes, you are.
You're
totally going into justifying blacks resisting arrest, which they do 10 times more down in San Diego, and 8 times more up in San Francisco.
Maybe cops are violating their rights 10 times more, and you don't know what you would do if you were having a cop violate your rights.
We all know that's not true.
You don't know that.
I do know that. I do know that.
What evidence do you have to say that doesn't happen?
Because look at how
what
blacks.
Evidence do you have? And let me just make sure.
I'll give you the evidence. I'll give you the evidence, Ronnie. I'll give you the evidence.
I want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. I want to know what evidence you have that says that cops don't violate the rights of black and brown citizens more than they do white people.
Because look at how blacks and Hispanics act. Whether there are cops around or not, they're violating the law like crazy.
That's not evidence. That's not
yes,
evidence.
It is.
That's
it's common sense.
That's hearsay.
That's
not common sense.
I know, but you're just making up an imaginary situation. You're making up an imaginary situation where cops are violating their rights when that's not reality. They're the ones going crazy. You're pretending that blacks.
Cops never
Ronnie,
violate.
Ronnie.
You're saying cops never violate people.
I put him on hold. Okay, Ronnie, you calm down yet?
You're saying cops don't violate people's rights.
Ronnie.
You're saying cops don't violate people's rights.
I didn't say that. You're acting like blacks are not out of control. You're pretending that blacks are not out of control.
I didn't say that. We're still on the
You're
question
pretending
of what
that.
you
That's
would
what you're
do if a cop
pretending.
violate. No, we're still on
Yes,
the
you're going off
conversation
into your imagination saying, oh, what if you got hurt? Or what if, how do you know that blacks are not getting their rights violated 10 times more than whites?
That wasn't my question.
Yes, it is. Yes, it was your question.
My question was, what would you do if a cop who you don't think is above
I gotta
the
go. It's lame. He already asked that question like 3 times. But thanks for your call, Ronnie. Interesting. And that's one of the nice ones. See, blacks are out of control. That is an example of an out of control black justifying out of control Jacob Blake and pretending like Kyle Rittenhouse in his backwards, girly mind, female mindset, justifying wrong and taking up for the criminal. That's why, Joe, if from Phoenix, if you're listening, did you hear that? And that's a so-called sensible person. He's an upstanding guy. He's a family man. This Ronnie guy, Ronnie, I think, right? Based on how he talks, we think that he's married, so-called Christian. I think almost maybe likes Jesse, likes me. I think, or does he hate us? He's kind of like a Maze from Dayton, Ohio, that is, but also a literal maze of fake logic. And that's why we call out Black Lives Matter, and that's why we say that blacks are out of control, not because of the Jacob Blakes who get themselves in this trouble. Well, not just because of them, and they do that disproportionately, but also because of people like this guy who take up for that. Oh, let's blame the cops. We'll deal with the cops when you deal with yourselves. We need black reform way before we need any police reform. And yeah, we need some reform of all people, honestly. Ronnie will call back and call you a coward, Hake. You're right, says Louis. Yeah. Anyway, let me get to some more calls. President Trump still talking, still fighting to the end. I love it. Let me talk to Rick in Hampton, Virginia. He wants to comment on this Senate runoff race. So, the Senate runoff. Kelly Loeffler lost. And what's his name? Raphael Warnock, the black radical who hates America, so-called won. And by a slim margin. And then John Ossoff is ahead, it sounds like, of David Perdue, who I think is a RINO. I think he's a RINO. Joe just called in. I invoked his name, so he called in. Appreciate you calling in, Joe. I will get to you. Hang tight, man. Rick in Hampton, what's up?
What's up, James, my brother? Love you guys, man. What's happening, man? You hit some good topics. There's so much I can talk about.
I know.
I'm going to get to the election first. The exact same thing happened to President Trump on election day. He was ahead, doing everybody with the bed. All of a sudden, the demon crashed our head.
Yeah, the demon rats.
Exact time. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And if they don't get a hold of them Dominion machines and Smartmatic software, you might as well say it's pretty much over with for the Republicans.
Right. I don't know what all the different ways of cheating are, but one of the ways of cheating is way before this with the brainwashing of the people. The lies that come out of the mainstream media, such as Jacob Blake was unarmed and Michael Brown did hands up, don't shoot. And to this day, people like Earl are saying, how do you know he didn't have his hands up? Some witnesses said he had his hands up.
Man, I wish I could talk to that last guy you had, the one that's talking about when police violate violate you. What are you talking about? Because they're asking you what you're doing here. They telling you why someone called the police on you.
Right.
That's not violating your rights.
They responded to a call, and maybe maybe the woman was out of control. Seems like it. She was cussing.
Yeah,
but he had some serious charges against him that were outstanding. He had a warrant, I think, for his arrest. What? They're not supposed to arrest him? Is that violating his rights? In no way was he.
That's what I wanted to ask him. I said, "What do you mean? If the police come ask you some questions, that's not violating your rights."
Right. Yeah,
if you're doing right, you won't even. It won't even be considered that, because sometimes police can ask you questions to save your life.
Yeah.
You know,
and they're not there to serve and protect. They're there to clean up after the crime has been committed and enforce the law, arrest the criminals, and that's what they do. They don't prevent crimes. I mean, they prevent a little bit of crime, but they mostly are supposed to catch the criminals after they've committed crimes. We, the people, are supposed to be raising people right so that they don't commit crimes, and shame the people so that they don't commit crimes and all that stuff. It's a mess.
You know, it's so sad that the media raised the black community. And Chris Cuomo, I'll tell you one person that stood up to him real good and really had him on his toes, that's Rudy G. Man, Rudy G stood, he stood toe-to-toe with him, man. And it's like Chris Cuomo, it's like...
Chris Cuomo interviewed? Are you saying Chris Cuomo, the CNN guy, interviewed Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani?
Yep.
Oh,
and,
nice. I like when men who are standing up for what's right get interviewed by that guy, because he'll fight them and fight them and fight them for like 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and he'll knock them out. I mean, they'll knock him out.
Yeah.
You know, I saw the same thing with Judge Roy Moore regarding the fake imaginary same-sex marriage situation.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Roy Moore was the Chief Justice of Alabama, of the Alabama Supreme Court. And he was not going along with this so-called same-sex marriage thing. And Chris Cuomo is trying to talk him into saying, oh, yeah, same-sex marriage is constitutional. And this guy's like, no, we're founded on natural law. Natural law. Nature's God and all of that. It doesn't make any sense to pretend that same-sex marriage is in the Constitution. It's dumb.
Oh, that is ridiculous. I mean,
and that's Chris Cuomo.
He argued about stuff like, okay. Well, you now you discriminate against somebody against their color. Yes, that is against the law. But,
unfortunately,
if you like you remember that Christian Baker in Colorado, he didn't want to bake those two gay guys a cake,
right?
And he refused that. That's not against the law. That's against his religion.
Right.
All they have to do is go to another baker that will make them a cake.
Yeah,
but
you have the right to,
because they can pick at the church. That's right.
You have the right to refuse service to anyone for any reason. But they don't believe in real freedom. What a shame.
I'll tell you, Chris Cuomo, I'll tell you, man, he just dominates his people because now he had Ted Cruz on there. You know, Ted Cruz is a lot more laid back. He said, look, if you're here just to win an argument, Chris, man, I can go back to my office. You know, and but Rudy G stood toe-to-toe with him, man. He couldn't do nothing with Rudy G.
Nice. That's cool.
You know, so...
I'm going to play a Chris Cuomo clip maybe at the top of the next hour here coming up. Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon are just like... They're acting like a couple of drunks. And they're acting bitter. They don't act like they're winners. It's crazy.
Man, I'm telling you, man. What do you think going to happen today? You know, what do you think Mike Pence going to do?
You know, I hope that Mike Pence does the right thing and fights. His lawyers say that he can't do what President Trump says that he can do, but President Trump says that he and Mike Pence are on the same page about what he can do. And he said, now is the time for extreme courage. President Trump tweeted that about Pence, encouraging him to do the right thing. But I don't know. Even if Pence were to do his part, do the Republicans have the courage to just use their power in the right way? The Republicans don't use their power at all. It's like they purposely tie their hands behind their backs, even though they have the power to do what's right and have had it for all this time, including the state legislatures, by the way. But meanwhile, the Democrats abuse their power.
Yeah, matter of fact, did President Trump show some of the evidence he had? He said he had a whole bunch of evidence to show today.
I don't know. Yeah, they're supposed to have a 2-hour debate or something like that when they contest the election in the joint session of Congress. I don't know.
Wow, I tell you, James, from blacks, and then again, they used the black community in Georgia yesterday to help those 2 Democratic senators. They call them Democratic senators.
Yep.
And they used, this time, DeKalb this time. And blacks' rights are not violated by the police. That's something CNN has put in their head.
Right.
And they live with it and run with it. And the police, I got 5 rules for the police before you let me go, James. If you mind, can I just 5 quick rules so anybody can stay alive? Rule number 1, don't commit a crime in the first place. Rule 2, don't commit a crime while you're drunk, high on drugs, NyQuil, weed, heroin, PCP, none of that. Rule number 3, do not point any guns at the police. Weapons like guns, knives, toothpicks, your cell phone, your finger, sticks, don't point no weapons at the police.
Yeah.
Number 4, don't fight the police. Number 5, don't resist arrest. And you'll have a good experience with the police. You're doing 5 simple rules.
Yeah, but some of that's asking too much for the emotionally and spiritually out of control people, man. Yeah.
And most of them have fathers that help them respect authority. So they're already angry.
Yeah.
And then when the police get there, they out of control, and the police can't do nothing. And when they shot Jacob, police are trained to stop the threat.
Yeah.
If he keep on moving, they did everything they could with that. They grabbed and shot him, wrestling with the man,
right,
doing everything but patting him, burping him.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It would be nice if we had police who just overwhelmingly overpowered the man. I don't know how many officers were on the scene. How many was it? Was it 5, 6?
It started off with 2, and then some more came.
Because the more officers on the scene, the more safe it is for everybody, even when the criminal is out of control. And Jacob Blake was a criminal out of control.
He was out of control, man. They shot him because he wouldn't stop moving.
Yep.
Because as long as he's still moving, he's a threat.
Yeah.
He can pull out an automatic Uzi, and all you got to do is squeeze that a little bit. That's about 15 bullets.
Yeah. I appreciate
all
it, Rick.
All you do is stop what he's doing. Okay, James, love you. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, man. Take care. Wow. Yeah, and he mentioned about this thing about ways not to get your rights violated. In some cases, your rights get still violated. For example, these shutdowns. Wasn't it in New York a sting took place in New York City? This happened a month or 2 ago, where they were violating the shutdown orders, right? Because they're shutting down businesses. This dumb Governor Cuomo or Bill de Blasio, the socialist mayor of New York City. Shame on New York City for voting him in. And the bar or restaurant served these 2 officers or undercover officers, and in response, these officers did this sting and raided the place and arrested the guy. It's crazy. So there are times where your rights get violated. That kind of comes from the top down, meaning the politicians. For example, the stand down orders. Charlottesville, Virginia. The officers stood down in Charlottesville, and the alt-right and the people there, and by the way, the Proud Boys guy, Enrique Tarrio, the Afro-Cuban guy, he was there because he wanted to protest the takedown of Confederate statues. I might have gone down there if I lived in that area, although I kind of would generally have the sense, I think, to stay away if I know that Antifa or Black Lives Matter are going to be around, especially Antifa. But Black Lives Matter can get quite violent and nasty, too. So I might stay home if I know that that's the situation. It's quite advisable to avoid these nasty confrontations. It's always going to be biased. The fake law is always going to be biased against the conservatives and the decent people and the whites and the men, as opposed to the female-minded people, the liberals, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the females. What a mess. So I don't know. Be careful. Enrique Tarrio, by the way, he got arrested. And I'll show you pictures later of the two so-called high-capacity magazines that he had in his possession in the city of D.C., which you don't have your constitutional rights to carry weapons in D.C., right? You don't. They advised, and by the way, they also made Apple Maps wasn't even working in the city of D.C. Crazy. So you couldn't even find your way around in D.C. if you were participating in this Stop the Steal situation, these pro-Trump rallies. Trump is still talking, by the way. Right on. But Enrique Tarrio, all he did was allegedly, and he has like a little bit of a criminal past in his wilder, younger days, right? But all he allegedly did was take down a hate symbol called the Black Lives Matter flag from a church. It wasn't his property, and I don't even know if he is actually the one who did it, but there was video of somebody doing it. He might have been in the same situation, in the same place. Somebody lit it on fire. I don't think he was the one who lit it on fire. Enrique Tarrio, the Proud Boys president, right? Arrested in D.C. by D.C. police for allegedly doing that. And their media is trying to say, oh, it could be a hate crime to burn a hate symbol. Granted, it's somebody's property, right? They have a right to fly the flag, the hate flag, right? But imagine if this were a Nazi flag. Same thing. Same thing. People would be commended for burning a Nazi flag. But Nazis aren't even relevant today. But Black Lives Matter is in vogue right now. It's popular right now. Just like back in the Nazi times. And actually, by the way, the communism flag stuff, all those symbols are in vogue right now. Those are hate symbols. Those are representatives of anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-human, honestly. But those are popular right now. So even though it's evil, it's acceptable. Just like abortion, even though it's evil, it's considered acceptable. And so many people are falling for the lie. What a mess. Let me get to Earl in Michigan. He wants to comment on this Georgia election. Earl, what's up?
Hola, buenos dias.
Hey, did you hear the song inspired by you?
Oh, yeah, I heard it. It was okay.
Nice.
But
shout out to DJ Hardmouse for the remix.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay.
Nice.
But also shout out to Justice F. It told you to check yourself when you're talking about people's misfortunes and so forth.
Uh-huh.
But
yeah, there's a nice call from her.
Just like, yeah, I'm still kind of reeling over Baba Go-To guy's nonsense, but you know, but that's when you're in a current situation.
The power of logic and principles has you reeling.
No, it's common of
his Caucasian
stupidity.
power, as Mays called it. She called it Caucasian power. What the heck?
Yeah, a little exercise in academic nonsense, academic philosophical nonsense that he want to apply to folks who have the misfortune of being treated that way.
I have no idea what you just said.
I know you don't.
Okay.
It's above your pay
Moving
grade.
on.
But your fellow, you know, you guys lost the election, and do you know when y'all been bamboozled?
What election?
The election for the new president.
Oh no, it's not over yet.
All I had to do is wait out his term. But
No,
it's
there's still something going on today. Did you know that?
I know that. I know about the nonsense.
Right.
That's what I'm calling about.
Okay.
That's just an effort. That's just an exercise in futility. Don't you know?
Maybe we'll see. I don't think it's futile.
No, it ain't maybe.
No,
It ain't
actually,
maybe.
I don't say that it's futile, Earl, because
I know it because you're too dumb to know the laws and the rules.
no, you just want
So
us
you
to roll
think all
over and
of
be.
this-
You just want us to roll over and surrender the country to pure evil, but President Trump doesn't
I
roll
want
like
you to
that.
accept facts and realities.
No, you
fellow.
don't care about facts or
simple as
reality.
that.
Give me a break.
The fact of the matter is, these guys are just hustling you all, putting on the scene.
How are they
trying to-
hustling us? Who's these guys and how are they hustling us?
These Republicans that's going to make a stint.
Oh,
in
no, I'm not
Congress
falling
when
for
they-
them. They're a bunch of rhinos. They're not
Yeah,
hustling me.
that's a stunt
I'm not
to-
paying them
to-
anything. I haven't paid the Republicans a red
encourage,
cent.
Your favor, and so they can use you later. Saying, look at what we did to
No, I'm not going to fall for
We
them.
stood up with Trump.
No, I don't.
They know.
No, I've been warning people about that. They could well be
I
rhinos.
know. Yeah, but you think there's some kind of hope?
There's
you got
always hope
People in hope for what? To do what?
to bring the country back towards what's right.
And you mentioned Pence. He can't do nothing. That's his job is just
That's a double
ceremonial.
negative. It's he can't do anything.
And that too. But his job is strictly ceremonial.
No,
that's what he tried
That's
to tell
silly.
you.
No, why would they put it in? Why would they put it in if it's strictly ceremonial? It's not
Just
strictly
the,
ceremonial.
just
He's the last line
process.
of defense.
That's what. No, it's no defense.
Yes, it
That's
is.
what he tried to explain to folks. He's not empowered to do that. That's not his job.
We'll see. We'll see what
He's
happens.
there to read off the elections. It's ceremonial.
No.
He has no power to reject or do anything like that.
Many people
And all
smarter than
these
you beg to
rejections,
differ.
It's just process.
Your
They
claim,
go to,
your claim is disputed. I'm quoting.
It can be disputed.
I'm
but-
quoting Twitter, FYI. That's what Twitter says to everything true. This claim is disputed.
I mean, you people fall for any kind of shenanigans that goes on. They can put
All
on
right.
this charade, and you guys think it's some validity to it.
Great
When you
points,
gonna
Earl.
wake
Great
up?
points. Nice to hear from you.
Great. And the Jacob case.
Yeah.
What was the? He shot him once. What was the other 6 bullets for?
No, I don't think that he shot him 7 times. I think that's fake news. He might have fired
They
7 or
took
8 shots.
7 bullets out of his back. That's why they know he shot.
No, I don't know if that's true. Let me see.
That's what.
4.
I mean, all you do is.
According to
check out
Blake's
the
attorney, this is from Wikipedia, citing 4 different sources. According to Blake's attorney, only 4 of the shots hit Blake in your face. And that's Wikipedia,
according
which
to
never
Blake's
lies.
attorney and his father and his family, there were 7 shots taken out.
No, the attorney. Which attorney are you talking about? Because I'm talking about the one that's cited in.
You talking about Ben Crump?
I don't know.
Ben Crump is attorney. And he
Ben
said
Crump the
same
liar.
thing that
Benjamin Crump the
family.
liar.
And of course, every Trump that represents black folks is a liar to you.
No,
'Cause
Benjamin
you're a racist,
Crump is a
right-wing,
sleazy person.
Egghead Nazi.
Whoa, call me an egghead. Dang.
But
Watch your language.
like I said, what was the other 6 shots for?
Because you don't stop until the threat is stopped. Give me a break. Don't you know basic
Point
policing?
blank. Point blank.
And he had a knife.
1 shot. He had.
You
the
think
knife
he's
was
just
in the
going to shoot
car.
1 shot?
And
Have you ever
was he
seen
attacking
what was
the
that
police?
movie?
When did he have the knife? When was the knife in his hand?
When he shot him.
He approached the car, getting in the car without a knife.
I don't know. Maybe so. You might be right.
So
I don't
the
know.
thing about it is, he was getting into the car. He wasn't trying to.
What, is he supposed to just let him get away? What type of
What I'm saying
person are
is,
you, Earl? You're ridiculous.
he
Some blacks.
said he
I gotta
had a
go.
knife.
This is
The
nonsense.
fact that he had a knife is inconsequential. A lot of people have knives in their car. I remember I used to ride with folks that.
This is
back
mind-numbingly
in the day,
stupid,
they had
Earl.
knives that-
I gotta
in their
go.
hoopty
Adios,
and so
amigo. Take
I
care.
know you want to escape because you can't answer the question.
No, it's a dumb
It's like the other
question.
guys
You
do.
don't stop until the threat is stopped. You don't stop shooting until it's very
One
common to
shot
fire a bunch of
to-
shots. Give me a break. That's not a good
One
point.
shot would have stopped.
You're acting
And plus,
like
he
a
wasn't-
acting like a
he
child.
wasn't- So he had to empty 8 shots, 7 of them hit him. So he had to
4.
shoot 7 times to stop a man that's point blank range.
Yes. Sometimes
back.
that's how it goes. Point
In his
blank,
back.
and only 4 entered
In
his
his
body.
back is not attacking him at all.
I gotta
In
go.
his back,
You're lame.
fool.
All right. Have a good one. Jeez. I hung up before he said adios because he seems to be trying to control me. You know, let me take a quick break here. I have a bunch of calls to get to. I have Chris Cuomo to play. You know, let's, for this break, play a couple of minutes of Trump talking. How about? And then I'll be right back, guys. And you don't know what I'm doing. Jesse gossiping about me. So check out what Trump is saying for a couple of minutes here, and I'll be right back to take more calls and talk about other stuff. Be right back.
Trump to Biden, and the same systems are used in the majority of states in our country. Senator William Ligon, a great gentleman, chairman of Georgia Senate Judiciary Subcommittee, Senator Ligon, highly respected, on elections, has written a letter describing his concerns with Dominion in Georgia. He wrote, and I quote, "The Dominion voting machines employed in Fulton County had an astronomical and astounding 93.67% error rate." It's only wrong 93% of the time. In the scanning of ballots requiring a review panel to adjudicate or determine the voter's interest. In over 106,000 ballots out of a total of 113,000. Think of it. You go in and you vote, and then they tell people who you're supposed to be voting for. They make up whatever they want. Nobody's ever even heard. They adjudicate your vote. They say, well, we don't think Trump wants to vote for Trump. We think he wants to vote for Biden. Put it down for Biden. The national average for such an error rate is far less than 1%, and yet you're at 93%. The source of this astronomical error rate must be identified to determine if these machines were set up or destroyed to allow for a third party to disregard the actual ballot cast by the registered voter. The letter continues, there is clear evidence that tens of thousands of votes were switched from President Trump to former Vice President Biden in several counties in Georgia. For example, in Bibb County, President Trump was reported to have 29,391 votes at 9:11 p.m. Eastern Time, while simultaneously Vice President Joe Biden was reported to have 17,213. Minutes later, just minutes, at the next update, these vote numbers switched, with President Trump going way down to 17,000 and Biden going way up to 29,391. And that was very quick, a 12,000 vote switch, all in Mr. Biden's favor. So, I mean, I could go on and on about this fraud that took place in every state, and all of these legislatures want this back. I don't want to do it to you because I love you and it's freezing out here. But I could just go on forever. I can tell you this. So when you hear, while there is no evidence to prove any wrongdoing, this is the most fraudulent thing anybody's, this is a criminal enterprise. This is a criminal enterprise. And the press will say, and I'm sure they won't put any of that on there because that's no good. And you ever see, while there is no evidence to back President Trump's assertion, I could go on for another hour reading this stuff to you and telling you about it. There's never been anything like it. Think about it. Detroit had more votes than it had voters. Pennsylvania had 205,000 more votes than it had more. But you don't have to go any. Between that, I think that's almost better than dead people, if you think, right? More votes than they had voters, and many other states also. It's a disgrace that the United States of America, tens of millions of people, are allowed to go vote without so much as even showing identification. In no state is there any question or effort made to verify the identity, citizenship, residency, or eligibility of the votes cast.
Exactly.
The Republicans
Anyway.
have to get tougher. You're not going to have a Republican
Good job,
Party.
Trump. I love ya. We love you. We love you. Very nice. I love President Trump fighting to the end, and a lot of people fighting alongside him. Did you see the crowds? The crowds are nice. That's cool. What do you think? Could you put it in like mute, kind of in the corner of the screen somewhere? Joel, have the Trump rally going. Just, it would be kind of nice. Yeah. And let me know, guys, if it's playing by accident. Maybe you can mute it on the in the YouTube thing where you turn off the volume or something, just so it doesn't bleed through somehow. Okay. But let me get back to some calls. I have Joe from Phoenix who called. I invoked his name, right? I called him out. So, because it was ridiculous how Ronnie was trying to parallel Kyle Rittenhouse with Jacob Blake. So, but thank you for your call, Ronnie. It was interesting. It's interesting to know how a black intellectual will think, but I don't think that Joe from Phoenix thinks this way. Joe, what's up?
Good morning, James. Okay, we're actually going to agree for the most part today.
Say that again?
Ronnie, you said we're actually going to agree for the most part today.
Nice.
Ronnie, you were just wrong. Kyle Rittenhouse does have the right to defend himself. We all do.
Yeah.
Within reason, though. It is not unlimited.
Yeah.
So what Rittenhouse is going to face is, was his response with using deadly force reasonable or not?
Yeah.
But that's not his only problem. In Wisconsin, there's a law that says anyone under the age of 18 cannot possess a deadly firearm. So
isn't that weird? But federal law says that he is I don't know if that's, I don't know. I think that the laws are so convoluted. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, so that's going to be his biggest problems. Now, in terms of Jacob Blake, James, you and I actually agree. You cannot fight with cops. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And if you do, bad things are going to happen to you, period.
Let me interrupt you to mention something that Rick from Hampton, the boisterous Rick from Hampton pointed out, is you don't point a gun at an officer. And going back to the Breonna Taylor case, her then boyfriend fired at cops, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Some people claim that, he didn't know, and he might claim that he didn't know. At first, he supposedly claimed that she was the one who fired. But Glover, her ex-boyfriend, the drug dealer guy, said that he doesn't shoot at cops. He knows not to shoot at cops. And if he were with Breonna that night, this is what I heard that he said. I read it somewhere on the internet, right? If he were with Breonna, she would be alive today because he doesn't shoot at cops. So, anyway.
I don't know if we can take the word of a drug dealer for any real value, James, but whatever.
Right. Yep.
Anyway, but James Blake, you cannot fight with cops. Now, again, the cops could face problems that their response was too extreme, but we'll see.
Yeah. It sounds like they're not getting charged, and neither is he. What do you think about the fact that he's not charged? Earl said, don't you think he suffered enough? I think Earl was the one who said it. Don't you think he suffered, or maybe it was Ronnie. Don't you think he suffered enough? He was shot and he's paralyzed right now. But what do you think about the fact that he's not charged for fighting with the cops? He brought this on. I can't blame him necessarily for the riots because the riots are the rioters' own fault, but...
There you go. Now, lastly, in terms of Pence...
Shouldn't he be charged, though, in your mind?
Well, he did resist arrest, so he should be charged with that, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what about Pence?
I hate to agree with Earl, but Earl is right, and I know it's disputed, but his role is mostly ceremonial to basically announce the results of the voting. not to disallow or allow certain votes.
That's traditionally speaking, right? Because that's traditionally speaking, but these are non-traditional times, and it seems like the non-traditional times, the Democrats just take indulge themselves in bending the law and breaking the law and saying, oh, like President Obama doing DACA. I can't do that. That's against the Constitution. I don't have the authority. And then he does it. And everybody says, oh, that's unconstitutional. And then they say it's unconstitutional for Trump to take it away. And so it seems like the Democrats do anything that they want, but the Republicans pretend like their hands are tied. And so they let the Democrats get away with everything.
Oh, gosh, I don't know about that, James. I mean, Congress is a mess. We can agree on that. But in terms of Pence today, he's not going to disallow. He's not going to come through for Trump.
What do you think about the fact that Trump said that he and Pence are on the same page in terms of what he has the power to do, though? I guess it's all speculation until Pence does or does not do whatever he's going to do or not do.
So it should be an interesting day.
Yeah.
We're all watching closely.
Yep.
As much as I hate to agree with you, James, yes, this is why education is important.
Right.
But even the right of self-defense is not absolute.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that, but it doesn't seem like Kyle was going there looking for trouble. His whole persona was to help and not to hurt anybody. In fact, to help people if they get hurt.
That doesn't matter, James, but I don't know if you or I can get into his head. But again, the big problem he's facing is that local Wisconsin law about being under 18 with possession of a deadly firearm. That's going to be his biggest problem.
That's a ridiculous law. I hope it gets struck down as unconstitutional.
Well, we'll see.
Because Jesse Lee Peterson got his rifle at 15, and he shot a squirrel.
His lawyer's defense to that is that Kyle was part of a well-regulated militia, so he's trying to hide under the Second Amendment there. So we will see if that works or not.
Well, there's a code in the U.S. law that I cited, which was, I think, something that Lynn Wood said, but that anybody who's between the age of 16 or 17 to 45 who's able-bodied is part of the militia. 17 to 45 or 16 to 45, something along those lines. So would that trump the Wisconsin so-called law? I don't know.
This is why the law is so fascinating to me, James. There are so many ways to go with it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And like you said, the law,
good talk today.
Especially nowadays, like you said, the law is not about actual justice.
Yeah, the law has nothing to do with justice.
Yeah.
Many times. Absolutely.
It's crazy. Anyway, man, nice talking with you. We'll talk again.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Art in Ohio, been on hold forever. He wants to address the great Justice S. who called yesterday. I think. Art, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Hake?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm Art. It's an honor to share the screen with the great President Trump, man.
Nice.
Of the great American. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I see Joel, man. He black, man. And we need to smell his breath and make sure he ain't got no watermelon on his breath or whatnot. And then indulging in eating too much watermelon. Nah, he doing his thing. My thing is with justice is with a lot of these females, they come in and try to regulate what's going on a male show. You know what I mean? And I want to send a shout out to your female people who work on your show or whatnot for just doing their job. You know what I mean? And not overstepping your boundaries. And you got a lot of callers like Justice that overstep their boundaries. She think that you just listening to what she was saying. She was basically saying, oh, don't talk about Jewish or whatnot. And because what was the word she said? She said it's inflammatory. You've been inflammatory, and she
because I was saying because I responded to that Paul guy or maybe Dave is his name from the East Coast somewhere. He was talking about, oh, why should blacks be thankful for slavery? Do you tell Jews to be thankful for the Holocaust? And I said they milk it. And I said, Bible Go-To guy pointed out they got Israel out of it. And that's one of the main things is remember the Holocaust. If you look at studies or surveys, polls, that's one of their most important things amongst many of them is not so much remembering God, but remembering the Holocaust. And so in a sense, they should be thankful in all things, in all suffering, and be thankful that it's over. And you learn about evil, but some of them, most of them seemingly abuse that and become evil themselves, and it's just evil fighting evil. What a mess.
Well, my thing is this: she kind of contradicts herself with the liberals do. It don't matter whether you are Jewish, black, white, purple. That's what they tend to do. Is just what she did. He sit there and said that you spewing out inflammatory stuff. Well, honey, if you watch Hake's show or Jesse's show, there ain't nobody that's protected. We call out everybody, good and good. I mean, we call out evil. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or we call out what's not right. You see what I'm saying? So for her to think that she gets a pass or whatnot and then claim to be American, no, you should be thankful. Because last time I checked, it was American soldiers that put an end to the Holocaust, if I'm mistaken, with that little war with Hitler when he had them in those internment camps. And then another thing that I have with this alleged Holocaust or whatnot, I know it may have allegedly the little internment camps where they were starving them out and they had them in ditches or whatnot might be true. But from my understanding, when I seen back when I was a kid on the History Channel that those gas chambers were not true or it might be questionable because they weren't able to hold in the gas. And then I just seen something that came on my phone like some years ago that said something about that again, questioning the gas chambers because they were not efficient enough to hold the gas, so you wouldn't be able to have a gas chamber because it ain't no point of having the gas chamber if you can't keep the gas in there. You see what I'm saying?
There's all kind. I'm not really honestly even that interested in it because I'm more interested in what's going on today. But there is a lot of disputed stuff and stuff that came out that turned out to be lies, like the lampshades.
That's all I'm saying.
There were lampshades that were allegedly. Somebody claimed that there were lampshades that were made out of skin. Not to be too graphic, right? And Earl said that there was carpets made out of human hair, and all kinds of atrocities have been committed by all kinds of different people.
Yeah.
But they only want to focus on this one because that was focused on a specific groups and LGBT and stuff like that. So it's not that it was right, but you should be grateful in all suffering. So. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, well, my thing is they don't seem to understand is you do get substance because if I understand that if I keep touching the stove that I'm going to get burnt, well, that first time should be all that I need to know that. So I got my substance when I burnt my hand that first time. I know not to touch it again. You see what I'm saying? I learned from my mistakes. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And a lot of people have to learn through their mistakes the hard way because they just see the red hot stove and that stove draws their hand to it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man, that happened to me a couple of times as a kid.
Yes, sir. Me too. Me too. With a lighter in the stove. I just like flames. I guess. Long story short. Then another thing is I was talking to my mom the other day and was talking about the little situation with the lady who ran, 22-year-old lady that tried to run up on a 14-year-old and say that he stole the phone. And what I was telling my mom,
I'm not familiar with that case.
The lady in New York or whatnot. That was in the hotel, and she approached the dude and told the black 14-year-old that he got her phone, and she basically pushed him down trying to see or whatever happened.
And did it turn out to be false, this situation?
It was false.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
It was false. It was false.
This happened recently, huh? It went viral?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard
that.
So
I know you'll probably hop on and get on to it and figure it out later, but I just wanted to make the point that I was talking to my peoples and I was explaining to her that both people are liberals or whatnot. The females are liberal because she got emotionally, and you can tell that she has some mental problems because she got so hyped up and mad that it didn't dawn on her in her head that they didn't stop making iPhones when they made mine. So you see what I'm saying? Did you get that worked up or whatnot and had that much anxiety that you just lose all train of thought, just like that lady did? And then I was telling my mom, the dude, the 14-year-old and his dad, they're both betas because me as a human being, whether, if I know that it wasn't a stolen phone, what's the problem with you being a decent alpha male and just turning the phone around and holding it and showing her, like, honey, this is my phone, and I don't know what you're talking about, but since they so beta and liberal, they always want to cause confusion and cause problems, and then they both look bad.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And my mom, and me explaining this to my mom, she was like, well, you know, you don't see, my mom is a liberal, so she like, no, you don't have to show the phone and this and this and this and this and that. Well, I'm saying, well, that's how, and I was telling her, well, that's how you liberals think or whatnot, and she was basically not getting what I was saying. She was kind of trying to call me a male chauvinist, and I was telling her, no, I'm not a male chauvinist. I just know not all, but most females, when you try to explain them logic, I don't care whether they got an education or they're a gutter bucket. You know what I mean? They don't get logic. You see what I'm saying? And that's just the facts or whatnot. And I got one more thing, but I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, I liked Justice's call, Justice S, because that's how a lot of people would react to us talking about the Holocaust and slavery and stuff. And so I'm fine with it because that's how you're going to have to answer that type of a question anyway, because you're right. Many times women are more emotional thinking and blind to, first of all, to like free speech and getting at the truth regardless of how it sounds or how it feels. And so it struck her as anti-Christian. You can turn off the, okay, thanks. It struck her as not very Christian, and she's a Christian, but she's also, her father was Jewish and her mother was Indian. I think American Indian.
Justice?
Yeah, Justice S. But
well, no, I don't. I know what my thing is with her is I just had a problem with how she was basically trying to make it seem like you was wrong. Now, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. It seemed like you talk about everybody. Now, I don't know if the Jewish think that they got some type of special title that where you don't get talked about.
I get why you're calling it that.
You see it? Yeah.
I get
Jewish,
why you call him Jewish.
Yeah.
Because you're the true Hebrew Israelite, right?
Jew, whatnot. But and then don't get me started on more on that because I can run.
We can talk about that another time.
But one more thing that I had to say is whatnot. What's up with Franklin County courts or whatnot here in Columbus, Ohio? That I went down there to the little custody court, and I'm just walking. It's 7 courts. Keep in mind, it's 7 courts. Out of the 7 courts, there's only 2 white dudes, and the rest of the other ones are females. And I think they like 4
judges.
Female judges. Can you tell me how do y'all have all of these females as judges? Ain't that some type of nepotism? You can't have almost all females like that. You got to have it balanced out, and especially when
it doesn't even have to be balanced out because females don't really have a just mindset usually.
Thank you. So why would you have somebody that's so more? Everybody knows don't comprehend and ain't on that level. Not all, but most. Why would you have them outnumbering the men?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
And it's crazy because George Bush had passed that law that No Child Left Behind, which I think is nonsense, where you pass a whole bunch of people on that don't need to be passed on to where you're thinking that they deserve something just because they went to school just to BS. Nah, that ain't right. My thing is this, with this all these female judges, y'all mean to tell me y'all can't find no male judges? That's nonsense. They pushing that liberal agenda heavy in Columbus, Ohio, or whatnot, and they think that we can't see it. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I just bring it to the attention.
Well, thank you for the tip. I did not know about that, but I'm not surprised. It's going out of control. Thank you, Art. It's good to hear from you.
Hey, did you know they also made that change to to the little gun law here in Ohio to the same as in Florida, to where it's, what is it called?
Stand your ground?
The gun law. Stand your ground. They changed that up here or whatnot.
They got rid of it?
No, they changed it to that.
Oh,
I think it's a good law.
Yeah,
but
I think it is too.
I think I do too or whatnot, but the people up here don't understand it because they never, you see what I'm saying? And that's why I bring that up, because I want a lot of these young dudes up here just to chill out or whatnot. That means you can't be going out here trying to be up in people's faces, trying to fight them, because you will get shot. People will kill you if you scared. So now you got to just more so know when to hold them and fold them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God bless you or whatnot. And I like that little Tupac little song you said too, man. That was slick. Yes, sir, man. Good show, man. Good shit. God bless you with Trump Pence 2020.
Yes. Thank you, Art. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Nice. That's cool. And 2020. Dang. What's going to happen? Wow. I want to cover this Lil Marco, the RINO Bible boy. I have like a 5-minute clip. I think I'll play it in a few minutes though, because first let me get to Dana in South Dakota. She wants to respond to Ronnie. Ronnie called me. Dana, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good to hear from you. I mainly was calling for the original guy who was talking about the police and how he kept asking you repeatedly if there was any, like those what if questions.
Right.
What if this? What if that?
Wow. What if the cops violated my rights? What would I do?
Yeah. And it's so dumb because it's like, well, what can you do?
Right. You can't do anything.
What can you do but take them to court? You can try to record. You can try to do. In our country, you can do all of these things and go to court for it.
Right. And then the courts, it's a toss up whether you'll get justice anymore, because people don't have a sound mind anymore.
Exactly, and that's thanks to a lot of the socialism and the indoctrination and brainwashing.
Yeah.
But they don't realize they're bringing it on themselves.
Yep.
If you go out and commit crimes and you don't expect the cops to bust you.
Right. Yeah, it's best to lay low. As the Bible even says, lead a quiet life.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable. Some of these people, like, you know, Trump is loud or Jesse Lee Peterson is loud on the show, but in practice, he leads a quiet life. He's not going out looking for trouble or bashing people over the head with the so-called truth or anything like that, or burning Black Lives Matter flags, which, you know, I support the Proud Boys, right? But sometimes some of those guys may be looking for a little bit of trouble when they don't have to be doing that. And they get disproportionate injustice against them for that reason. They kind of bring it on themselves.
Exactly, but Jesse practices what he preaches.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So many people will tell you to do this and that, but when in reality what they will actually do is different. I think that's the point the guy was trying to make, but the problem is it falls on deaf ears.
Right.
When you're trying to bring up all these what-if scenarios when you can draw from real life.
Yeah,
you can draw from real life. There's countless cases you can draw from. You can even cherry pick them, and it would still come up with a pattern that tells you, don't be stupid.
Right. And it's not like we don't know that, like, we have a lot of MGTOW people listening to the show and a lot of, like, the other right-wingers in general. They know that there's problems with the cops. They complain about cops more than I do. And I grant a little bit of what they say, but we got to deal with black reform and human being reform. Yeah. It's not the problem with the police primarily. It's a problem with society, I think.
Well, there's going to be good and bad people in any job.
Right.
And being a police officer is a job.
Yeah.
So of course, there's going to be bad ones and good ones, but I don't think the bad outweighs the good. And people act like the good is outweighing the bad by far. They act like it's so like an injustice, like we're in a communist country or something. It's like you're pushing for that.
Right,
you
exactly.
are literally pushing for that.
Yep. Yeah, these people are such liars. They say that they're calling for justice when they're calling for the opposite of justice.
And they are. And that's what they do. They use it like a face. Like it's like corporations use lefties as a face, as a poster child. Oh, look at all this virtue signaling. Let me virtue signal to you. But on the other side, let me be $1 million corporation that is putting out small businesses, which are the backbone of this country.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's completely backwards.
I appreciate it, Dana.
That's
Good feedback.
All right. You have a good one.
You too. Are you still streaming, by the way?
Huh?
Are you still streaming nowadays?
Yes, I am.
Nice. This is Dark Side of the Bear of What, guys, by the way. You're Dark Side of the Bear of What.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate
Always
you.
good talking to you, man.
All right. Take care. You know what? Let me get to Ruth in Georgia. She wants to comment on the danger of female judges. Ruth, what's up?
Yes.
Hey.
It's kind of funny how you went right to me when I'm insulting women. I love it. Keep it up.
Have you called into my show before?
Yes, sir, when
Okay.
I was trying, but I had made a mistake, but not talking like this.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I don't remember anyway. But what did you want to say?
I don't believe there should be female judges.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Nope.
I know, but what
I
about
voted
Ruth?
yesterday.
What about Ruth in the Old Testament, the Bible? Wasn't Ruth or Jael? Weren't they judges in the
made
Old
them
Testament in
judges?
the Bible? But anyway, these people
made
who
them
are
judges?
I don't know, maybe the Israelites or maybe God or something like that. But it might. I don't think Ruth was actually. Ruth was just
No,
a
she was not.
mother.
She was married. It's okay.
That's funny.
Well, I don't even think women should vote either, but I voted yesterday.
Well, I mean, since you can, you have to vote in order to counteract all the insane female voters.
Oh, yes, sir, but it should have never gotten to there.
I agree.
But my husband told me to, so that's how I justify
Nice.
it. But it's all you men's fault. Just want to point that out.
We rolled over and let it happen 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. What a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think a lot of women understand y'all have the harder job.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the proper job. There's like we each have our roles. Did you see that Joel Friday here on the Manhood Hour intro? He played the
No,
footage on the Jesse Lee Peterson show earlier today of those women over in Argentina. I guess Argentina had outlawed abortion up until just recently. And then there were hordes of these women's march types who were outside. Some of them were like naked, and they're celebrating the fact that they can kill the babies in the womb because it's a woman's body and a woman's choice. It's crazy.
No, it ain't, but
Yeah, it's not.
no, wicked.
Yep.
Very wicked.
Yeah.
But no comment.
Which senator did you vote for? Was it Ossoff or Warnock or Loeffler or Perdue? If you don't mind my asking.
I don't mind. The one Trump told us to, I guess, is the best way. I don't know how to pronounce the lady's name.
Loeffler, I think, is how you pronounce it. Kelly Loeffler.
I think.
Yeah.
I think so. Loeffler.
Right. As Matt Drudge, I think I have Drudge's tweet. The wannabe Ann Coulter. People were calling her a RINO and a fake and a phony, and they may be right, but I think that she lost.
I don't like any of them, but
yeah, me neither.
all around here, you don't see hardly any Democrat. It's all Trump, Republican. So, yeah, but the same thing happened with Kemp. You didn't see hardly any Abram signs or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of Brian Kemp, honestly?
Well, I was kind of hoping he'd be different, but I think they're all the same pretty much. But hey, if President Trump said vote for, what's the name? The two we just voted for, and then Kemp, whatever, hey, give them more rope to hang themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
They
true.
don't have nothing to run back to.
I know. It's a shame. Well, I appreciate it. I agree. These female judges, especially nowadays, they're no jail. You know, Jael, I think, is the name of one of the judges from the Old Testament. And I heard about jail. She drove a stake through some evil guy's temple in his head and killed him. But these women who are judges today, they're SJWs, social justice warriors, which is not justice. Man.
So if I killed a guy that was wicked, or let's say someone was breaking into my house and I killed him, I would be a judge then?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think she was already a judge. I'm not even sure of the circumstances, but maybe it doesn't reflect well on Israel that they had to have a female judge. I don't know.
Right. Well, and plus, too, words mean different things at different times.
Yeah.
And
true.
So.
That's right.
Yeah.
Judges back then weren't the same as judges today. That's true. Well, I appreciate it, Ruth. Nice to hear from you.
Okay.
Good luck in
Thank
Georgia.
You, Mr. Hake.
Keep your head up.
We'll need it. But yes, sir, just pray for us.
Will do. Appreciate you.
God will sort them out. All
Yep.
right, thank you, sir.
All right. Take care. So, before I get to Tony in California, he's been on hold forever, wants to comment on Jacob Blake, but I got to get to this. We're half past the second hour. And so, little Marco, the RINO Bible boy, Bible boy is what Chris Cuomo, I think he's wannabe Italian Catholic, right? And little Marco is I don't know if he's a Catholic or just a regular Christian. I say regular because that's how I grew up. Normal Christian. But Grabian, I got this from Grabian. Lemon, as in Don Lemon, and Chris Cuomo are bantering for like 5 minutes. And so if you can put me in the corner of this video, it's a 5-minute video. And they're talking about Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, is a man of faith, while Bible boy Marco Rubio never speaks the truth to power. The RINO, right? The guy who didn't support Trump, and then he kind of does, but we don't know. So this is a fascinating CNN clip. And at one point, you're going to see Don Lemon or hear him like pop open a can of what we assume is Coke. And he's like drinking it on air. That's like almost as bad as Jesse Lee Peterson eating sweet potato pie on air. But watch this clip. It's from air.tv. It's from Grabian. And a hat tip to CNN for the interesting footage. They're talking about Trump, his phone call with the Georgia Secretary of State that was all controversial, and his comments about voter shenanigans and other things. And then I will get to calls. So listen to this and react.
After that ridiculous phone call last night, and you did it right, I'm going to take my engagement band on and I'm going to put it on here, and I'm going to sit there and say, hey, it's criminal what you're doing. Everybody's going to hate you. Everyone hates you. You got to look into it. They're changing the machines on the inside. They're burning ballots. They're destroying ballots. Don't you know? No, Mr. President, none of that is true.
Your problem is the data. Look, that was a gutsy thing.
Let me tell you,
for that Secretary of State to say to the President of the United States.
It was very gutsy, but it's the truth. And you know what? He is a man of faith. And I learned about it tonight as I was watching CNN, that he is a man of faith and he's relying on his faith. And that's why he could sit there and just very stoically say, I'm sorry, Mr. President, you're wrong. Our data shows that you did not win Georgia. And I have to tell you, I dial out on the weekends. I didn't find out about this tape until late into the evening yesterday as I was on my way to the grocery store because I needed to, us Southerners have to get those meals in for New Year's. You got to get the black eyed peas, the cornbread, and the cabbage in with a little ham, right? So all that stuff. So I was on my way to the supermarket and I couldn't stop listening to the entire tape.
People really should hear the full hour. It's one of the rare examples where the clips don't do it justice because you see in that entire hour, he is just going from desperation to desperation. He never offers one legitimate piece of proof for this Secretary of State to act on. Not one. And he just gets more and more threatening. And by the way, he had some real hitters in that room with him on that call. I don't know what his lawyer was thinking. I saw the statement from her firm. I don't know why she didn't leave the room.
Well, here's the thing. No one listens to the real evidence, right? I mean, at least on that side. And it's not just the president. He's sitting there trying to coerce, co-opt, cajole, convince. How many C's can I do, right? That's a lot going on, right? Just
drunk?
the C's, and there are other ones. To the Secretary of State to bring him over to his side. In the meantime, acting like a mob boss, a legit con man, someone who is delusional, who seems manic. I just have to be honest. It was the craziest thing I ever heard. And if you ever heard desperation in anyone's voice, it was that. But it's not just him. It's a self-feeding loop. It's the people in that room who are feeding him BS, who are going along with it. Someone needs to be like the Secretary of State and say, Mr. President, I'm sorry. You are wrong. The information you have is wrong. The data you have is wrong. This has all already been investigated. So for you Trump people who are out there, supporters on the fence, whatever, if you're watching now, if you're going to watch this on social media, the president said nothing on that call last night. None of it was true, except for the fact where he said, this is Trump media. And there you go. It's a self-fulfilling loop, a self-fulfilling prophecy that's happening in Georgia. That's another story. A feedback loop that just keeps going around with just disinformation.
I think you nail what we have to focus on also. Look, Trump, I believe, will be remembered as the worst. We've never seen anybody abuse the office the way he has, not in our lifetime. But the people, those who remain, the Kevin McCarthys, the people in the House, the people in the Senate, who are enabling this, who are complicit in it. You know, the man he called Lion Ted, the man he called Little Marco, Mr. Bible boy. You know, he's got a Bible quote for every moment. He just never speaks truth to power or acts on any of it in the interests of his own state or of this country. They remain. And they all know what they're doing is bogus. They know what they're doing on the 6th is bogus. Think about it. They say they have to do this, Don, because the irregularities demand it. But the irregularities on that tape don't.
That's not true. But, Chris, this is the thing that gets me.
He's going to start
cussing.
cussing.
That is so ridiculous. You said one of them, his loss is not legitimate. But their win is legitimate
on the same ballot.
On the same ballot? That makes no sense. But the other thing is that we must do this because we have millions and millions of voters who believe this election was illegitimate and it was stolen. Why do they believe that? Because you have been telling them that. Of course they're going to believe it. If you would stop telling them that and start telling them the truth, then maybe they would believe the truth that the election was not stolen and that was a clean election according to everyone who was investigated, most of them Republicans. So stop saying that we must respect Trump supporters who believe bullshit because it is bullshit.
Crazy, huh? Don Lemon with the dirty mouth. Isn't that crazy? He added soy to the cup, says Point Fire. Yeah. These people are crazy. By the way, Jeanette says, Hake, you aren't normal. You know, I'm a Southern boy, gotta get my grits. He's pretending that he's not delusional. It's funny to hear Don Lemon. White cup means he's leaning. Maybe he had Trayvon Martin's Robitussin and Skittles. But it's crazy. These people are nuts. And he admitted that Trump is telling the truth. That's why the people believe the truth. But they're lying to the people, and they're barely convincing enough people to be able to, in order to be able to go forward with a lie. With a lie. Zip in a double cup. I don't know what that is. I'm too young. That's before my time, or after my time. I was raised Christian. No way. CNN lies? Exactly. It's rich for CNN, these two CNN guys, to accuse the president of lying and of being delusional. Two different worlds, right? Radical homosexual Don Lemon who gets drunk on air. Or has gotten drunk on air. Shut up, Don Lemon. Just read the teleprompter. Yeah. And Bible boy Marco Rubio, I have a couple of tweets from him. Well, actually, I have this Twitter profile, which says, banned in and sanctioned in China. And he's a follower of Christ. Father, husband, proud American, and senator from Florida. He's the Cuban guy. And little Marco Rubio, the RINO, who some people were excited about at one point. back in 2011 or 2012 or 2007 maybe even. I don't remember when he came on the scene. But that guy, if that's a follower of Christ, look at this tweet and listen to this tweet. He tweeted, the verses I tweet. He's responding to Chris Cuomo calling him Bible boy, and he has a verse for every moment. So Marco Rubio, the senator from, one of the senators from, RINO senators from Florida, said, the verses I tweet are usually ones chosen by the Catholic Church for that day's Mass. Okay, he's a Catholic, not a normal Christian. But the fact that he thinks words written thousands of years ago are relevant to current events proves the Bible isn't just a book, it's the Word of God. Amen. And then he shares this Fox News article of CNN's Chris Cuomo mocking Marco Rubio's faith, Mr. Bible Boy. He has a quote, a Bible quote for every moment, but doesn't speak truth to power. And that's a common line by sleazy SJWs, speaking truth to power. It's usually like black women who are like radical communist Satan influenced people. There's Chris Cuomo talking about speaking truth to power. Give me a break. What a phony. But then again, so too, honestly, is little Marco Rubio. And he's called Bible the Word of God. So you guys have a RINO on your side, those of you who say Bible is the Word of God. It never calls itself that, but he calls it that, and he's a RINO. So you do the math. Little Marco, Bible boy. the RINO. And he is a RINO. He's a backstabber of Trump. Was he on that list, by the way? I should look that up to see if he's on that list of at least going through the motions and pretending that you're fighting for Trump, right? That's what some of these people are doing. Anyway, let me get to Tony in California, and then Mary, and the rest of you guys. Tony, what's up? How are you doing?
All right. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Wonderful. I just called to correct something because, you use hate and use lies. I just want to correct that, sir. You were saying that guy's Blake's girlfriend or ex-wife, whatever she may be, called police on him, and that caused him to get shot at that present moment. That's not true. That was two different incidents, sir.
Oh, really?
Yes, and y'all know that. Y'all just
no, I didn't know that.
Yes, you did. Y'all just trying to blend it together to make him look bad. That's all it was.
That call from that woman, in my mind, it does not make him look bad. It just kind of explains some of the drama that was going on. I don't think Laquisha's call where she hangs up saying "F-U-B"
okay.
Made him look bad. It made her only makes his choice of women and babies' mothers look bad.
Well,
and it doesn't honestly even matter. So she accused him of stealing multiple of her cars and crashing them.
Okay.
And I wonder if that's true.
What they got to do with the police shooting in the back 8 times?
And by the way, okay, so that's fake news. He was shot 4 times. He was hit 4 times.
Well, he was hit, but how many times did they fire? That's
7 or 8. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so that's not fake news then.
Yeah, it is fake news because you call them shot 8 times, and that's not even true.
You got 5 police out there. Why would you not? Why you got to shoot in the back? You got 5. That shows the weakness of the police force.
Maybe so. You might have a point there. I don't know.
No point. No, not that day. It's truth. Let it shine. Let the truth shine.
Come on.
You got 5 police out there.
Yeah.
One individual, 160 pounds, and y'all gonna shoot him in the back 4 times.
Maybe he was on drugs. He had superhuman strength.
He did not have no drugs. He was in the hospital. No drugs found.
Okay.
No warrant. He did not have a warrant. So that's another lie y'all putting out.
Are you sure? Why
he didn't get arrested? Why didn't he get arrested?
Because he went straight to the hospital and he was handcuffed to the hospital bed. Don't you remember?
He was handcuffed because he got shot.
You say stuff, and I'm not sure it's true. You tend to say stuff that I don't know if it's true.
You say a whole lot of stuff, and I know it ain't true.
Whatever.
But the thing is, hey, I want to shout out to the Georgian people. I love y'all. Y'all came through last night and yesterday with a major vote and putting them in them seats.
You support communism and baby killing?
well, hey, whatever you want to call. Hey, I'd rather support that than support a bunch of predators on an island having sex with children. Yeah,
oh, come on. That's what you're supporting. That's exactly what you're supporting.
Well, that's Donald Trump and his boys.
No, it's not. You're just making stuff up like a woman. Shame on you, Laquisha. Tony Laquisha.
Okay, I'm going to be suspicious and be la.
You're just making up anything to justify something that we know, which is
but you know,
baby killers.
Don't know nothing.
Yeah, he supports baby killers. Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff, communist baby killers, and white haters, too.
Okay.
They hate white people.
George Washington, Hoover, anybody back, Ben Franklin, whoever. They baby killers, too. They rapists.
Oh, come on. That's not baby killing. Rape is not baby killing. And how are you going to call them rapists based on what?
All your forefathers was rapists.
What was that?
All of them. Kill them now, kill them later. Okay?
Tony, you don't. That sounded kind of quiet. Was that loud enough for you guys? Maybe you have Lock Talk on. No, I don't know. Anyway, Tony, you don't make sense. You're acting like a accusatory woman. You just make up stuff against great men.
Hey, you know your forefather was racist.
Did you say rapist or racist?
Yeah, rape. All three. How about all three?
I only said two.
No, I would say all three. Rapists, murderers, and racists.
Jeez.
That's America. That's what America was built on. That's the core.
Are you happy to be in America, Tony?
Am I happy to be what?
In America.
I'm happy to be alive and be a human being.
How about in America?
In America, that's what y'all call this place? I call this the land that the Indians had before anybody else knew anything about it. That's what I call it.
So are you happy to be in America?
I don't deal with y'all laboring. Y'all always want to labor.
Do you vote?
Do I vote?
Yeah.
I have the right to vote, don't I?
No, you don't, because you want to even deny that this is America. You should get on out of here along with Antifa. You sleazy communist.
They always want to say something.
Baby killer supporter.
Why don't you go back where you came from?
Because I like it here. I came from here.
Didn't you come from Sweden or some Caucasus Mountain?
What? No, I didn't come from Sweden. That's Samuel.
Oh, well, one of y'all came from somewhere. I know y'all came from the mountains.
Reality is, we're here now, and this is America, and you support evil. And you support.
We ain't going nowhere. So
and you support evil.
Son, deal with it.
I gotta go.
Deal with it. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you. What a weirdo. Let's talk to some sanity. Mary from San Antonio, Texas, wants to comment.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine.
But I don't like you in gray. I think you look great in your beautiful other colors.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Now,
nice.
Now, about women.
Are you on a speakerphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Much
now,
better.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Hello?
No, now you're sounding worse.
Okay.
Did you turn on speakerphone?
Yeah.
Come on a regular phone.
Oh, I'm trying.
Oh.
Are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
What a mess.
No, I wanted to comment on that lady from Georgia. I feel so sorry for Georgia right now. I want to cry. Hey.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're losing. No, about women. I saw something this morning that I wanted to. Oh my God.
Come closer to your phone if you can.
I'm coming as close as I can.
Thank you. All right.
Is it working now? I saw.
It's just a little quiet for me, but go for it.
Oh, okay. You sound so loud.
Okay.
Okay. On the web this morning, I saw something I wanted to throw up. They were showing on Louder with Crowder with these two crazy creature women talking about women going crazy on a train. They attacked people for sitting down, eating and drinking coffee because the rule is you could take your stupid mask off and eat and drink and drink. And these were two stupid women, and they cussed out this other woman for taking a picture and calling them a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
And putting it on the web. And I'm telling you, this has been going on for 30 or 40 years, and I think the culture of women has gone to hell.
Yeah.
Because they're in charge. And I also heard that over 300 women now from Antifa and BLM, not Antifa, but the LBGT and BLM creatures are now in political positions. You talk about wanting to go crazy about that news. It makes you want to,
It's ridiculous, that's for sure.
It is awful, awful, and this is what's happening. And the people in Georgia, oh, my God, I'd like to have few choice words for those idiots that went to vote against our country
to
destroy it. How dare they? And evil lives alive and well.
Yeah.
I do not believe that we have a chance anymore, Hake. I don't, because, and mostly, I don't know why women think that they have this power that they get, and all they do is use it against what is righteous.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be so bad if the women were really Christian and good and loving and kind. They're kind of good, and kindness and Christianity is so messed up. It's you can't even describe it. That's not even righteous.
Yeah.
So we need to pray for my sanity, because my signs in big bold letters are, the republic is dead. God save our sanity.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for what you do. I'll try to support y'all as much as possible.
Appreciate it, Mary. Check out, I know you're not into the Christian thing. Check out the silent prayer if you haven't already. You don't have to be into the Christian thing to do it. I think you might like it if you haven't checked it out already.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, take care. Appreciate your support too, Mary. That's cool. Let me quickly get to Justice from Las Vegas, Nevada. Justice, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I was flying home. I had a couple work meetings today, and I was flying home, and I just started tuning in when I heard, what's his name, Earl. Earl giving me a shout out, and then Art dissing me a little bit, and okay, I'm going to take that and I'm going to reflect on it for a minute, because if that's what's happening, maybe I do need to, examine myself a little bit, because I don't know, man. Art's my favorite caller, and no offense, Earl. I don't resonate with you, man. But anyway, so maybe I will look at myself a little bit. But I just want to clarify a little bit, because I was working, sorry, I missed the majority. I didn't see any of JLP today, and I just started tuning in the last little bit of your show. So I don't know, I missed it. I tried to send you an email last night. I doubt you guys had time to mess with that or what have you. So I just want to call and follow up and say that I've been free speech before, I'm pro-man before there was a Karen Strong, and,
nice.
And free speech and liberty loving, and I'm ex-Army enlisted. Just a little shout out to Robert Lee. I guess we chewed the same dirt at Fort Jackson, so I just want to say hey. But anyway, it doesn't get much more American than me. And yes, I'm very, very grateful for being here.
Nice.
But I just want to say something, of two things. Basically that, I really don't find, having grown up in being that my grandfather was in Sachsenhausen, and that, my dad and grandmother came here on the Queen Mary to escape all that. We couldn't be more grateful Americans. Like I said, my dad was bummed he couldn't run for president and everything. Both of my parents are conservatives, Christian. Well, he wasn't Christian, but just kind of didn't really believe in anything, kind of agnostic or whatever. But, my mom was Christian, and I really didn't find that my family, even being that close to the Holocaust ever, was really that focused on it. I mean, when I was 15, I did a little report in school about it. Yeah, talked to my grandmother, but honestly, my grandmother never really spoke much. You could tell, it really, really affected her. She never really spoke much, and when she finally started breaking out of her shell, she converted to being a Christian, being a Franciscan nun, and, dedicated her life to service until she was, 98 or whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to say, maybe I should only call when I agree with you or something.
No.
But, I usually.
No, you can call like
kidding.
that.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I usually agree with you, but it'd be very easy to just call and agree with you and get a bunch of pat on the backs or whatever. But, I'm just going to call when I have a little beat. And if you would allow me to at least read this little, I tried to shoot you an email real quick before I had to leave last night because I knew I had to work this morning.
Okay.
But,
I do see the email.
Okay. Do you have time for me to read at least one of those paragraphs?
Sure. Go for it.
Okay.
We're opening the treasure chest, guys.
Okay. I was just saying mainly, I'll leave too long. I don't want to get into all of it. But basically, I should have addressed the Holocaust as one issue, and I should have addressed the African American slavery as another issue if I wanted to on another day. But just to focus on, they're very different things, obviously. But just to focus on the Holocaust, I was saying, in regards to you saying that you feel like the Jews of today are the real Jews, I agree with you. Maybe not everybody will. But
right.
you guys just say to stay in the present, like not the past, meaning the Holocaust. But then respectfully, Bible go-to guy, when talking about Jews, wanted to go to a different part of the world and wanted to go all the way back to BC or like biblical times to when the Israelites, not the Jews, as he said, rejected God. Also, I was mainly talking about the Jews today that are in America, really close descendants of those from Eastern Europe and Germany. Those Jewish people, by a landslide, I've found, and I'm sure I've known more than a lot of people, but by a landslide, because I'm from the East Coast also, is more devout. They're more devout. They're more God-focused. They're more, this is my opinion, they're more morally rich in values and family focused I'm not trying to attack anybody or anything. I'm Christian. I love Christianity. I love Christians. But they're more family focused than any Christians that I've met, having been a quite engaged Christian for like 41 years now. The people that you speak of are like godless, nihilistic, far lefty, neo-Marxist, contradictory, anarchist / wannabe, socialist aggro sheep, in my opinion, and certainly not the Jews who pray and repent 5 times a day and observe Shabbat and with their families weekly and go to temple many times a week, and the vast majority of them homeschool their children, or if not, they're in like small Jewish-focused schools. And the women stay modest, and the men learn so much of the Torah and more. And these are polar opposite groups, so I don't like seeing when they're getting conflated or whatever. But all of this is not to say separately, Israel hasn't. Not to say that Israel hasn't gotten out of line with some overreach. After centuries of war and strife, there's always going to be overcorrection. But again, that's like a completely different topic and a completely different part of the world. And so I just kind of wanted to say that.
All right. I appreciate it, Justice. I will say that a lot of these people who are conservative, whether they're Christians or Mormons or Jews, yet they turn on Trump. They judge Trump, or they end up being kind of RINOs or neocons and just not loyal. They still have something wrong with them. And it's we have to become perfect. So anyway, but I appreciate that.
Agreed.
Nice talking with you,
I just
Justice.
think we're mixing up 2 groups of people. All right, thanks, man. Take care.
All right, take care.
All right,
bye. I'm sorry to Maze and the rest of the callers. We're over. Let me read the last of the super chats. Whoa, there's a ton of super chats. Let me get to. Hold up. Hey. Man, speaking of, that guy got an, no, that's not the guy who got an aneurysm. That's the guy who died. He died at 40, like 20 years ago. Nate Dogg. What a shame. And in his 40s. Anyway, 2021 U.S. COVID relief fund, $500 million shall be for Israeli cooperative and 6 programs. Your tax money, says Mo Betta Stand Up. And caller says cop suspects must have equal duel in the street. XD, which is scrunching his face and laughing. Yeah, that's ridiculous. He's referring to a prior caller. I hear lots of Chirac accents on the line today, says Mo Betta. I think that's Mo Betta, yep. And he says Antifa is in Germany today over a 1919 commie troll. Yeah. If 1919 troll won, Germany would have been USSR proxy since. Yeah, interesting. Ask Earl if he would fight / steal for a COVID vaccine. I didn't think of that. Ask Earl if he likes my girl Congresswoman Omar. Yeah, female Congressman Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar says affirmative action hire, or she is an affirmative action hire maybe, immediately took flack. Interesting. Earl, point blank with a knife. I hope you keep shooting too. Yeah, that's right. Congress Black Omar is good. If you start taking flack from Israel, it means you are over the enemy target, says Mo Better Stand Up. I don't know. This whole enemy of my enemy is still an enemy. I say. Mo Better Stand Up gave a Ninjagini, says U.S. taxpayer COVID relief, $600 instead of $2,100, includes $500 million to, I think I already read that, Israeli Cooperative 6 programs. Adam Sandler, Harvey Weinstein, Jeff Epstein are not white, he insists. Yeah. Bernie Madoff, not white either. Mideast is near Syria. Caller mistake, believe in the global media monopoly. Referring to one of the callers. Lots from Mo Betta. Appreciate you, man. He says, ask about the Crown Heights riot extradition. Oh, yeah. There was an Israeli who killed a young black in, I think it was a hit and run, and then he fled to Israel. Research how Colin Powell got erased. He said JINSA. Jinsa. Interesting. Colin Powell, the RINO. Support to no accent. I see Antifa in Germany now, frowny face. Man, I'm not sure what you're referring to, Mo Betta, but he's saying Don Lemon, sheriff, spar over police shootings. Yeah, YouTube. That was another good one. Don Lemon versus, I think you're referring to Sheriff David Clark of Milwaukee. Yeah. Justice is so fake and lying. Ask her of Harvard v. Oh, he's referring to the caller. Mo Betta stand-up is. Dang, Mo Betta. He's going after her. And last one's from Streamlabs. Harriet Tubwoman says, any New Year's resolution, Hake? Love to show. Yeah, exercise a little bit. Justice S gave a super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Man, we're way over. I didn't realize I had so many. What up, Jake? Hank? JK, I called you yesterday and would like to follow up to call tomorrow and clarify, but I have 2 apps in a busy week. So I'm sending this tip an email in hopes that you'll read the email or in lieu of another call at the moment. I'd be grateful. Shalom/peace. And she also says, if you heard a little swag in my voice, it's not because I'm black, nah. It's because I'm originally from Pittsburgh, PA. And gratefully, maybe also because I had a hard knock life. Nice. Didn't you see me on screen? Look white, perhaps a little native. Pray for Skip, y'all. Yes, I think Skip has his surgery. Is it today or yesterday? Hopefully he'll be walking. That would be nice. Hot Computer Smell says, Ronnie used to be JLP's problem. Now he's yours. I guess the whole Jacob Blake thing had him feeling riled up. He's usually more leveled and pretentious. King Alpha Nerd says, Hake, you know you can't argue with a black liberal woman. And yes, I'm calling Ronnie, Earl, T, Tony, and other males women because they have no men traits in them. They have totally embraced their feminine spirit. They voted blue no matter who. And I'll read the rest of them tomorrow, guys. This is way over. It's 5 minutes past. And I've been sweating and dripping for like 10 minutes. Because the AC is not allowed. So anyways, guys, I will read the rest of your super chats, or I should say anyway. Thank you. Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel today, 4 p.m. All right, guys. You can go to rebuildingtheman.com/church for a throwback Sunday service from 2010. Thanks, guys. Take care. Man.
What?